it's going to be your first call for Class 2 British. First call for Class 2 British.
Well, very good class as we start here this afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to come. And I thought, to me, like I was telling the folks in here, picture gals and then some of the ring help, what a way to start off in a good class. And obviously we lose one to the scales. It was a very high quality calf. It doesn't matter. Obviously that's the game, but a good steer, but ends up with 3 good cattle as well. And I'm not here to tell you that this calf that wins wasn't going to rival that little yellow one in some areas. In fact, I liked him as good as any in his structure. Great big footed, big bone calf. Got a beautiful look to him of quality whenever you step off to the profile of him. More than enough muscle in this particular class whenever you get right in behind him. I don't think he's blessed with the great big back. I don't think he's got the biggest, broadest pin set, maybe even amongst a group of them, but he's got plenty enough. And boy, just looks like a good feeding calf. He looks like he's starting to maintain and turn the corner and head into a good fat steer. Everything blends and balances well. He's the best structured while still accompanying that with muscle and a quality look, and that girl does an awesome job of getting him together. I made the call between 2 and 3, and I know that I originally pulled this calf here in 4 once they come back out, and I split some hairs there whenever I did it, and I ended up just saying, hey, I thought the red one was a little stouter. I still think that, but as I watch him continue to move, I like the black calf's just hind leg better. I like the way that he's built better at the surface, and then yet still for a bigger, longer body calf, he doesn't give up muscle. Whenever you get in behind him, good back, good hip calf. What I told him early on is, to me, didn't balance as good from the side. He ran downhill just a shade relative to his floor of his chest. His mid-body and his flank needed to be better. Thought the calf was a rib longer. Wanted to just maybe scrunch him up and stout him up just a shade in his body. Just pick him up there and elevate him up front. But a very good calf in terms of his build. He still has muscle, and that's what keeps him there as we continue to drive. That just more the red ones started to fall apart here just a bit. I like the red one's kind initially. He's the most my speed in class in terms of his frame size, his length of body. Great big back, great big hip, great big wheels underneath him. I love his body shape and just his extra density and feature. I wish the calf went better, and the longer he was out here, the more up front he'd start to separate, the more behind he became uncoordinated and awkward, just a little more uncomfortable. If you're okay with his joints on either end, then he could go ahead and rival, obviously, the class winner and be a class winner from a standpoint of width and muscularity. I appreciate that about him. I wish the calf just moved a shade better for me today, but I do really like his kind once he stops and stands. Yellow calf's no slouch either. From the side, I like him a good deal, and I think he's built nice. He's not nearly as stout whenever you step right in behind the cattle comparatively. I just want to open him up in his back, open him up in his upper rib, and just give him a little more width of skeleton as I take him right there to the ground. Great calf's built nice. I didn't think he was as heavy bone. I thought he just fell out of balance a little from the profile, just his lower shoulder and his chest floor, his levelness of hip from hooks back. We want to just square him up, bring him up in his pin set. And the red calf, again, not an off-quality steer at all. He just fell in a really tough class here. Got a great look of quality from the profile. Needs to be just a little sounder behind, a little softer in his makeup. A great way to start. Let's give those kids a nice round of applause if you could.
All right, your placings for Class 1. First place and champion American goes to Kelby Long, Lubbock County 4-H. Second place and reserve champion American goes to Grant Schilling, Slayton, FFA. Third, Austin Earhart, Lubbock County 4-H. Fourth, Jackson Sullivan, Idalou, FFA. Fifth, Weston Beerwinkle, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. And sixth, Peyton Carpenter, Friendship, FFA. All right, your second call for Class 2 British. Second call, Class 2 British, making their way into the ring at this time. All right, quick reminder for all of our exhibitors, all the breed champion and reserve breed champion animals need to have their picture taken before they leave the barn today. All breed and reserve breed champions must have your picture taken in front of the banner over there today before you leave the barn, whether you do it right after your class or at the end of the show after we do our overall champion, reserve champion drive. You must have your picture taken today before your animal leaves the barn. Thank you. right, it's going to be your first call for Class 3 British. First call for Class 3 British.
Very good class. Once again, as we get to our British, the calf that wins this particular class, again, starts at the ground, and then his function and his build is good, but then importantly, from a market steer characteristic standpoint, once you get in behind the cattle, whether you get your hands on him or not, the calf obviously has muscle, and he's a great big back, big hip calf that's good in his body. He's being fed well, and he's prepared well. A good calf right there. And boy, once he gets burned in and clipped tight, how good could he get? A very, very good steer to win this particular class. He's maybe not without fault. Right in behind his shoulder at his forerib, he can be just a shade better, and that's where I like the calf that ends up here in second. He's been fed well. I like that calf's rib shape and his softness of body. He sets down on a good heel. To me, he's just a little tighter in his hock. I don't see him as good in his neck shape. I didn't see him just naturally as heavy boned as what I did the calf that wins this particular class. But boy, he's stout and rugged and big backed and bold build, and that's what keeps him right there in the top three of them for sure. I thought it was close because this calf here, from the profile, he could beat the white steer just in terms of balance of top line and profile view. He more naturally gets his head up and neck up and out of his shoulder. He's still a good fed calf in terms of his mid body. I like the way that you get in behind him, and he's got enough relative to his frame size and probably his weight as well. I saw him a little more upright in his hock. I saw him just turn a little, just too much for me personally up front, and I clean him just a shade there at his crest and down through his throat line. But again, just a powerful calf in terms of his rib, being fed well, being presented very well. Another good calf and just a really good class. Obviously, the tidiest clipped comes here next. The boy's done a good job of preparing his calf. I love him on the stand. In fact, Buddy's probably my favorite in terms of his quality of profile, his look, his lines, and just his presence out here, the way that he comes up front. And then as you get in behind him, a great big muscled calf in terms of his pin set and his lower hip and quarter. Once I set those cattle in motion, my biggest question and hang up on him is his hind leg and just the usage of it. I wish he was better built behind. And then I'd soften him up in terms of his rib as you get to his mid body and rear rib, but a very, very high quality calf. As he stands there, we can let him get out and go just a shade easier, and he moves up. Black calf that comes next, built very good. I like his kind from the side. Once I get in behind him, he's lacking the most in terms of width of skeleton and muscularity. Young man's calf here that comes next, again, being prepared well, being fed well by him. His chest floor relative to his mid-rib and flank doesn't balance his underline as good. He comes with a little extra shoulder and front end. I thought this pair of calves is really nice as well. The boys did a good job. As you watch those two go, both of them need to be just a little sounder as they walk there behind, but a very, very quality pair as well. Great class as we start here into our British. Congratulations to them.
All right, your places for Class 2 British. First place, Marshall Holmes, Idalou, FFA. Second, Kylie Petrie, Roosevelt, FFA. Third, Jack Mims, Lubbock County, 4H. Fourth, Braxton Mims, Lubbock County, 4H. Fifth, Emmeline Beerwinkle, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. Sixth, Braden Mims, Lubbock County, 4H. Seventh, Knox Petrie, Roosevelt, FFA. And eighth, Rosser Newton, Slayton, FFA. All right, second call for Class 3 British. Second call, Class 3 British.
Leave them just the way that they come back to me, and I think a close pair here, and I'll talk about them, but I thought a really solid class winner over here. Not only does he have the best build down low, but he accompanies that with the most muscularity as you step in behind the cattle. Great big round rib up high, and it facilitates for a big back, and he's spread wide behind, and then yet so incredibly good in terms of his presence as you step here to the profile of him. But like I said, most importantly, he's got muscle and meat where it matters, and the calf takes off and goes good. I thought a really neat one to go ahead and win this particular class for sure. Not a big hole about him, and then yet still got some wow factor. Good calf to win for sure. I thought it got pretty close right here, and hey, I could see you switching a pair if you go ahead and say, hey, I like this one a little better here, and I'm more comfortable with that, or I'm more comfortable here. Once you're out here and with them, this roan calf or the red and white one that the young lady's got here, he is so much more explosive in his back. He's so much bigger in his hip. He's deeper in his twist. He's bolder in his quarter, and he's just a wider built calf as you study him down low comparatively to one right in behind him. Now, hey, I want to drop him down and just give him a little more depth to his heel. I want to set him back in his knee right here. And from the profile, to me, just the shape of his neck, the depth of his neck, not quite as good as our class winner or even the one right in behind him. If that one's tidied up like this one is, they could get close. But, man, whenever you're right there next to him, he's got so much more in his top line. He's got so much more in terms of base width and muscularity. We're sitting here in market cattle, and to me, that's got to, the fundamentals have to come together first, and that's where that steer beats this herf. Now, hey, this calf, I still love him, man, and if he does the right things in the next 30 to 60 days, he might be as good as any of them in class. His feeder is quality, his bone work, his foot size, his stretch, and his go on both ends. Whenever he gets him out there and gets him put together, he does a great job. I step in behind him, and you have to be at that view to understand why he's third. Calf not only needs a little more up top, but he needs more behind, especially whenever you get down to the seat of his pants and then from there down to the surface. But boy, I love his foot quality, his structural correctness, and his build, his body, and the way that he comes presented to us. I think we can all agree that's the three very, very good cattle at the top end of this class. Presented very well comes the next one here. Young lady got one from mid-body forward, attractive and just a really high-tying, elite-looking show calf. From mid-body back, I got to soften him up. I want to lengthen him from his hooks to his pins and just set that calf down more coordinated off of his hind end. Got to soften him up for this guy in terms of his rib cage, but a really high-standing, high-tying, good presence calf here as she gets him stuck and put together on the move. That's where I get pretty critical on him. Red and white calf that comes next, bold and stout and moderate and chunky. He's got all the muscle you'd ever want. It's obviously starting to become maybe a little bit of his undoing behind. He pushes his hock out, gets a little coarser in his joint. Same thing in his shoulder. I want to just soften that calf up and the way that he hits the surface, bring him back together up front there. His biggest thing is just watching him go right there behind. I thought this pair was close, and I know that this is a nice haired steer, a lightweight Hereford calf that's good bodied, and he's pretty good up front. He's a little too straight for me behind, and I got to open him up right there in the seat of his pants. I thought he was better ribbed. I thought he was just a little stouter featured, just a little better off of his front end than the calf that comes here next. Be a good heavyweight slicking one. I like his quality of presence from the side. He gets pretty shallow in his body. I thought he was the tightest in his movement off of his front end. Didn't get out of his hind end good enough. I got to stouten him up as I get right in behind the cattle. Awesome class. Congratulations to each one of those kids.
Well, I got caught up watching one of those exhibitors in that last class, and I did miss my first call for Class 4, our third and final class of British. So this is your first call for Class 4 British. Placings for Class 3. First place, Austin Earhart, Lubbock County, 4H. Second, Carly Rathman, Lubbock County, 4H. Third, Jackson Swan, Lubbock County, 4H. Fourth, Jackson Swan, Lubbock County, 4H. Fifth, Kenna Petrie, Roosevelt, FFA. Sixth, J.C. Sullivan, Idalou, FFA. And seventh, Ellen Newton, Slayton, FFA. All right, again, this is your second call for Class 4 British, our third and final class of British. Second call for Class 4 British. right, we're going to need to get those first and second place British steers from classes 2 and 3 back to the ring here in just a little bit for our champion and reserve champion British drive. First and second place British from classes 2 and 3. Y'all can start making your way to the ring at this time.
Very good class, and a good class winner for sure. Just comes kind of fresh and ready. Good looking calf from the side, but most importantly, a calf there that opens up big behind his shoulder. Great big in terms of his body, great big in his hip behind. You know, again, you could maybe nitpick on him just a shade, give him just a shot of bone. He's got just a little hook to his hind leg that at times isn't the most attractive, but once she gets him to settle in, oh boy, that is a good looking fat steer. Got him presented right, got him coming to us very well fed. Like I've talked about, this looks like an easy doing calf. It's doing all the right things at this particular point in time to kind of hit herself up there into being primed up and ready for the fair. A good calf to win this particular class. I spent a little time between 2 and 3, and I know on the standstill, this calf might not balance as good as the steer right in behind him. Just most specifically right in behind his shoulder from his hooks back to his pins. But down low, I thought he was a better steer. Just more honest in his foot. foot, a little wider built, and just more honest in terms of his width of skeleton. I like the calf's body shape. I love his extra stoutness of feature. He can't beat my class winner because he's a little weird out of his hip. He's a little round in terms of his rump design right in behind his shoulder. I thought, to me, it got close because he doesn't balance as good as this calf, but on the go, and whenever we're just studying him, just talking real width and skeleton and muscularity, I thought that was the second best steer in here. Now, I do think it's close, and like I said, those particular holes I talk in him could be a little better, and that's why it is. The Shorthorn stop stands, it gives you a beautiful presence from the side. Just in terms of his strength, the top line, right out of the back of his shoulder, and from hooks back, he's a leveler built calf. And so, to me, his line set any better, and from the outside looking in, you could say, well, hey, he needs to be second. Boy, he looks like a big, hairy one. Getting in behind him and watching him go right away, he'll want to open him up right in the base of his skeleton, most specifically right there to his rear foot. In terms of his go and his reach and his comfort relative to the other two, I didn't think he was nearly as good behind. He got real choppy as we let them three move there. But again, he's a big heavyweight, and if you call him good enough in that regard, then he could be second. No beating the class winner, though. The one that comes here next, again, I told her I thought that was a good, slick and Hereford steer if he continues to get fat enough in his rib. To me, his back line, his pin set, his width of skeleton, and his foot size all reeks of a class winner in a setting where he can come together if he has just enough body. From the profile, he's got to have quite a bit more. To me, it becomes even more evident because he's got a slice of chest, and maybe it's just not coming, but it has to be a little better in a tough class like this, and I'd clean his joints up as you get in behind him. The other roan calf, again, not a bad one. He's right in his length of body for me. I like his depth of body, and his structure's pretty good. He just ain't nearly as stout as those other ones, but man, he's a nice calf too, just falls in a really tough class. Congratulations to him, a great class. I thought a very, very good class winner. Congrats to them all.
All right, your places for Class 4. First place, Branson Swan, Lubbock County, 4H. Second place, Kendall Rayfield, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. Third, Garrett Davis, Slate, FFA. Fourth, Ella Newton, Slate, FFA. And fifth, Peyton Carpenter, Friendship, FFA. All right, we're going to bring in those first and second place British from classes 2, 3, and 4 for our breed and reserve breed champion drive. All right, first place from Class 2, Marshall Holmes, Idalou, FFA. Second place from Class 2, Kylie Petrie, Roosevelt, FFA. First place from Class 3, Austin Earhart, Lubbock County, 4H. Second place from Class 3, Carly Rathman, Lubbock County, 4H. First place from Class 4, Branson Swan, Lubbock County, 4H. And second place from Class 4, Kendall Rayfield, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. All right, this is your this is your British Breed Champion Drive. British Breed Champion Drive. All right, it's going to be your first call for Class 5, Red Cross. First call for Class 5, Red Cross.
Let's give these 6 young people a nice round of applause real quick if you could. Job well done by each one of them. Whether you're talking to County Fair or you're talking to Jackpot Show or you're talking to Texas Major, obviously Lubbock County is always going to be in the talk and the mix of things. That doesn't matter the species. And so to me, we come right out of a really good division early. We get into our next division here, British cattle, and most specifically as I just look at some of our class winners here, our second place, and think about some of those cattle that were third and fourth and just maybe needing just a little more time to just prove evidence of how good and how high quality that they are. It has certainly been fun. And so I like my 3 class winners a good deal. And I do think that the seconds will challenge you in some areas because the white one's probably as stout as any of them whenever you get in behind him. I talked about maybe his structure just a shade. I thought the red and white calf there, great big back, great big hip, and a good bodied steer. Maybe come up just a little short in terms of just depth of heel, foot size, and just the way that calf patterns out of his front end, but a good steer. That young lady's calf that went or ends up second, they're in the final class in this division. I'll be up front with you. I like the calf better moving than I do standing. I think, to me, probably comes in a few more pieces standing. On the move, that's a really nice steer. If we can get that figured out whenever he hits to the next part of his particular endpoint, then I'd say the calf is quality. Still needs change in a few areas. My class winners are very, very good, and if I could put these three together, then I think it's really easy. What I think in my mind and what it is, just one of those deals, being involved with it and understanding, not just being a show judge, but most specifically raising cattle at home, and then again getting the chance to judge. But we love feeding and showing steers, man. This is what we eat, breathe, and sleep, and showing some barrows as well. Absolutely phenomenal top three right here, but I don't know, you couldn't build a case for any one of them. This class 1 winner, he's good. Where he's good, he's as good as any of the cattle that's come through so far. His feet and skeleton is the best, no doubt. In terms of just bone and foot size, the way that he reaches and goes, and he's a fat steer, man. I love his body. I love his stoutness of hip. I talked about him a little in class. I didn't harp on him too hard there, but I said, hey, I'd like to give him just a shade more forerib and strengthen him up just a little right in behind his blade. Clip down tight. We could all talk about, oh, I can blend it together. Hey, out here and like that, the calf is just a little swayed right in behind his blade. We could strengthen his top up, pick his chest floor up, and just open him up at his forerib. But mid-body back, there ain't been a better one come in. Shorthorn comes in next there, and I thought, man, just a wowzer in terms of his look from the profile. He is so pretty, man. And then what I like about him, though, is because so many of them that look like him don't have muscle. He's still got some shape to him, and I like that about him. He's not abundant, but he's got enough, and he's a very good calf as we ask the cattle to move. Just in terms of the way that he's built, he's got a beautiful silhouette to him. Now, is he as stout as the calf right in behind him? I certainly don't think so, but I do think his quality is big time high, especially within his division. I think it's a very, very good steer. I talked about this one. I thought he was primed up, gassed up, and ready for the fair, and I do still believe that. I know that you can poke a few holes in him just like you can those other cattle, but man, he's good bodied, he's fresh, he's good looking, he's got a great big hip in him, a great big back in him, and he moves with quality out here amongst a group of them. Is he the softest ever in terms of his hind leg? No, but he's built plenty good enough for this guy, and he's pushing to the upper 1300s, and so obviously he's stayed and stabilized himself good enough to get to that part of his life. Thought that's a good calf. He's got the stoutness of that one. He's got the look of that calf right there. And then again, like I said, fortunately for him, I read him the freshest today. My champion's right here in front of me. Congratulations to her.
All right, your champion, British, goes to Branson Swan, Lubbock County, 4-H. Bringing in the second place from Class 4, Kendall Rayfield, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. All right, again, this is your second call for Class 5, Red Cross. Second call, Class 6, Class 5, Red Cross. And your reserve British goes to Austin Earhart, Lubbock County, 4-H. All right, another quick reminder for all of our breed and reserve breed champion exhibitors, you must have your picture taken before you leave the show barn today. All breed and reserve breed champion exhibitors must have their picture taken with their animal today before you leave the barn. Thank you. is going to be your first call for Class 6 Black Cross. First call for Class 6 Black Cross.
Nice class of these Red Crosses, and I thought a very, very interesting class winner. To me, he brings together the cattle in terms of contrasting kinds. It's right behind him. I love the calf in terms of his build. Just one. Perfect. Very good class of them, and I believe now it's also your champion division here. And so a good calf to win with the white switch steer, man. I love his kind, built very good, but yet still stout where it matters, and he gives you a good look here to the profile of him, a good bodied steer, great big in terms of his back and great big in his hip as you get right there in behind him. Just a nice steer to go ahead and win. I'd stout him up maybe just a shade in his feature, just his jaw, and in terms of his bone and his foot. I'm not saying that, again, that he's, to me, very bad in those particular areas, but I'd maybe stout him just a shade, particularly as you compare him back to these two cattle riding behind him. But again, he's more than enough in that regard. Just a good calf to win this class. Steer that ends up second comes presented to us very high. I love the calf's body, his bone, and his foot size. If that calf could take off and go like my class winner, he'd probably win the class just based on his stoutness and his feature. I love his body type and his just shape of his rib. Big top, thick-ended kind of a calf. As you get right there and behind him. He's got to go better whenever he gets the moving, most specifically off of his front end. To me, his hind leg is built pretty good, but he tilts just quite a bit more up front than the other two, and then just even study him alone. And so once he gets out and in motion, it's going to slow his pace down quite a bit behind, but a good calf in terms of his stoutness, a feature, and the way that he comes put together to us. This is a nice steer as well, man. Good feeding calf, good bodied steer. He's a really big muscled calf that's honest in his width of skeleton. To me, he's the thickest in his crest and down there through his throat and lower chest. Like to just smooth him up and bring him back together there in his blade. Just recorrect the way that he comes off of his front end. Hereford colored, or another Red Cross, obviously, but Hereford Mark calf comes here. And from his mid-body back, I might like him as good as any in class, and he gives you a big upstanding look from the profile. His front end's got to be reassembled, and I told him and talked to him a little bit about that, just his knee and his shoulder design. But hey, from forerib back, pretty darn nice one. Good job to him, a great class there. My compliments to each one of those kids.
All right, your placings for Class 5 Red Cross. First place and champion Red Cross goes to Kennedy Long, Lubbock County 4-H. Second place and reserve champion Red Cross, Caston Dorsey, Lubbock County 4-H. Third, Garrett Davis, Slate FFA. And fourth, Branson Swan, Lubbock County 4-H. All right, second call for Class 6 Black Cross. Second call for Class 6 Black Cross.
Well, nice class, and again, just a very quality top end of it. The two steers that land on, I like them both, and I like them in different areas. Where I make the call that the young man, the cowboy hat's got your class winner. Just a rib shorter and a better bodied steer. The pair, he comes together better right in behind his shoulder blade, his fore rib and center body, and just the roll of it, the softness of his rear rib and flank. And then not only that, but he's still a wide enough calf as you get in behind him in this particular class, and he handles those feet just a little bit better in his ankle. Calf doesn't come without his faults on the go. You'd like to maybe just relax his spine. He'll run downhill just a shade and come just a little more pronounced in his tail head, and I think that's getting pretty critical on him. He maybe comes apart just a shade moving than he does standing, but boy, once he gets him propped up there and put together, a very, very high quality Class 1 winner here as we get into our blacks. The one that comes next, again, once he stops and stands, beautiful front end. I love his tie. I love his raw muscle whenever you get up on top of him, his width of hip and his width of skeleton. As you take him to the ground on the stand, on the move, that calf's going to come just a little more uncoordinated behind. He'll pull his hock in, he'll rotate up in his pasture, and then again, I thought from the profile that steer was a rib longer, and I don't mind it if he's soft enough for me. And when I get to the mid part of his body, I work back into his rear rib and flank. I get to that calf's fore rib. He's pretty harsh comparatively to my class winner, but still a very, very high quality steer. There's some trade-offs there. Good pair of cattle. The one that comes in third, again, Buddy's had him a couple third place steers, and again, very high quality setup of them. Get beat by a really good pair once again. A muscular calf, a stout-ended steer. He's got to have more bone and foot. He's got to be better out of his hip. He comes the plainest of those three up front. Young ladies comes next, and again, stopped and propped. He's a good-looking calf from the side. He's got to have a little more to him as you get in behind him. Black, white-faced calf comes muscular. I like his quality of muscularity, his width of skeleton. There's times I want to move that calf up. I just wish he was better built on either end. As I work towards both ends of his framework, he's the most upright of that group of them, but a very good calf up high, and it comes presented to us well. Brockle face steer here, good build, need to be stouter. Black one there that ends, again, a very nice looking one from the side that takes an athletic and comfortable step. He just got to be a little stouter to rumble with those other ones. Good job. Very, very nice class as we start into this division.
All right, it's going to be your first call for Class 7 Black Crosses. First call for Class 7. Placings for Class 6. First place, Coulter Winter, Lubbock County 4-H. Second place, Declan Lesky, Lubbock County 4-H. Third, Garrett Davis, Slayton, FFA. Fourth, Jenny Sullivan, Lubbock County 4-H. Fifth, Sammy Gonzalez, Roosevelt, FFA. Sixth, Jackson Sullivan, Idalou, FFA. And seventh, Blaze Bozeman, Lubbock County 4-H. All right, this is your Class 7 Black Crosses making their way into the ring at this time. Class 7 Black Crosses making their way into the ring at this time. All right, we're going to need those first and second place black crosses from Class 6. First and second place black crosses from Class 6, making your way to the ring at this time.
Just going to let them stand here for a second. I could go back and forth all day on the pair of calves, and I'm certain that you could too, unless obviously the calf is yours and that is the one that you say, hey, he should win and do it by this particular reason or these reasons alone. The two calves that stand in front of me, again, they come prepared very well, prepared a little different, but prepared well. Both the calves, again, elitely presented, especially young lady there up front. Her calf is starting to settle in and do the right things. The young lady steer that stands directly in front of me, just talking about simple balance and quality in terms of the way that his chest floor, fore rib, mid body, and flank, and his underline set together. He's the better calf of the pair from that particular standpoint. Man, is that thing massive whenever you get up on top of him. Great big back, really a thick-ended calf. Round-bodied kind of a steer, super stout. And out here, whenever he came in and even whenever he leaves, I'm just going to be up front with you. I don't think his structure is a 10 out of 10. It could be just a little bit better. But boy, he's a big fat steer and he's stout. He still moves good enough in regards to just how powerful and how massive that he is. Now, he's not the better moving one of the pair. Young lady's calf, whenever we ask him to go, that's what I like about him from the side. Just the set of his foot, his hock, and just the way that he goes there behind. That calf is elite looking whenever you get off to the profile of him and where his neck tops up out of his shoulder. I still think he's a good back steer. I think he's a stout built steer as you get right in behind him, and he's the better footed option of the particular pair. Is he just as burly looking? Obviously, whenever you get right up on top of him, of one that's maybe clipped a little tighter, I don't think so. My biggest hang up on that calf is from his chest floor to his midrib to his flank. I'd like to soften him up, and I think whether you get your hands on him or you just studying livestock and just getting out here patterned from the side, it looks like to me that the calf could use to be just a little fatter still. But I do think that he's a very high quality steer. So to me, it's build versus power. And I think to me, both of them have an incredible amount of muscularity. They're simply put very stout cattle. One of them a little tidier clipped and one of them just a little better built, still with muscle. And I'm just going to go with my gut instinct. I like this calf right here in front of me to win the class. To me, he's the best footed out here. He's got a great big look to him of quality as you get off to the profile of him. He is stout in terms of his back line, as what is this calf? No. And if you just simply want to study him right out of the back of their shoulder, right into their pin set and the center part of their hip, he is a broader built calf, there's no doubt. I told you I question his feet. As he stands out here more, the more he'll start to separate and come straighter up front, the more upright he'll come in his heel. I want to make the calf's feet better and bigger and just softer whenever he hits down to the ground, but big stouty whenever you get right up there next to him. I thought it a very, very good pair of cattle, where to me, again, that one might be a little stouter. That one's got plenty enough for this guy, and he moved just a shade better. This is a good calf. He falls in a good class. I mean, these four that come here next, built good, especially the way that this guy goes behind. Just his length of hip, the way that he uses his hock and rear foot. I get to the midsection of his rib. He's the shallowest bodied. I get right in behind his shoulder. He's the flattest in terms of his muscle. Big feet, big column of bone in this steer, and a good looking calf. As I stand off to the profile of him, he comes the most pronounced in his tailhead. Most pronounced in his tailhead and just a little off in his top line. Said good calf here in terms of just his foot quality, and once he stops and stands there, he comes up a little too tight in his loin. He's a little flatter in terms of his body. He too, I'd like to put just a little more cover around his forerib and mid body and drop him down in his flank and his tail head, but a good looking calf with some big feature there behind. From his flank forward, I might like this one just as good as any of them. Man, he is stout right up top. He's the right length of body for me. I like his profile and just the way that he balances well. Thought he got just a little weird hind-legged, and I know that that's pretty general, but just out here and moving wasn't nearly as comfortable as what was the upper end. Black and white steer, high tying and good looking. Just came out a little weird in his hip, or his spine and his hip, his hind leg, and just the assembly of it. A little more cumbersome moving out here. Looked like once we pulled him in, he about fell. I thought to get a good calf, just needed to balance just a little bit better. Just chest floor to forerib and mid body, but a nice steer once he stops and stands. Young man's black and white calf, good to look at from the side. A little big jointed. Black steer here, super stout. Need to be just a little better built at both ends. Great job, very, very good class. Interesting top pair with some trade-offs. Build sorts them. Good job.
All right, your places for Class 7 Black Cross. First place, Kenley Rathman, Lubbock County, 4-H. Second place, Hannah Gonzalez, Roosevelt, FFA. Third, Brindley Swan, Lubbock County, 4-H. Fourth, Quinn Bucelato, Lubbock County, 4-H. Fifth, Cassidy Bozeman, Idalou, FFA. Sixth, Kinley Bozeman, Idalou, FFA. Seventh, Marshall Davis, Idalou, FFA. And eighth, Ellie Hare, Idalou, FFA. All right, bringing in those first and second place Black Crosses for our champion Black Cross Drive. Go ahead and give our first call for Class 8 AOC. First call for Class 8 AOC. All right, bringing in those first place and second place Black Crosses. First place from Class 6, Coulter Winter, Lubbock County, 4-H. Second place from Class 6, Declan Lesky, Lubbock County, 4-H. First place from Class 7, Kenley Rathman, Lubbock County, 4-H. And second place from Class 7, Hannah Gonzalez, Roosevelt, FFA. All right, this is your champion Black Cross Drive. Go ahead and start getting that Class 8 AOC. Our first class of AOC, Class 8. We're getting those to the ring at this time.
Let's give our Black Cross exhibitors a good round of applause real quick if you could. Job well done by these four right here. The whole Black Cross division, really good, you know, and to me, I had to answer to a couple good classes, particularly here as we get into our first and seconds, and not always going to be to everybody's favorite placing, but hopefully I can describe them to you in a mannerism of where you can say, hey, I see it, still like my calf better, that's totally fine. Like I said, we eat, breathe, and sleep it and love doing it, man. There's four good cattle out here. Now, there's all things that we could maybe make a little more equal, or maybe we could go ahead and fix here or there, but some very nice cattle. But I think your calf's nice. You know, I don't know where he's at comparatively to these big stouties yet, but I do think, to me, his bone, his foot, his ability to go on both ends, his body, his length of frame, and just his height, everything balances so well. He's a good tying calf from the profile. He's a good hip steer whenever you get in behind him. You know, even without getting hands on him. I mean, where's the calf in terms of muscularity right behind his shoulder? He reads a little soft to me. I don't know that he's just nearly as stout as these other two, but hey, in his own right, he is. By himself, he is. There's no doubt. He's a good, high-quality steer there that falls into a buzzsaw out here, but man, a very, very nice calf. Steer that wins the second class. Again, I don't know that he's a freak in any one area. I just thought he was good cattle. And where he was better, in my opinion, and the steer that's clipped a little tighter than he is, was not only just the shape of his neck, but most specifically his foot size and the way that he traveled off of both ends of his body. I want to soften him up a little in his rear rib and flank, and I put his pin set up just to shade as I step right there and behind him. But again, as I just talk about all things equal, that calf is built for speed. He's got muscle still where it matters, and I think, again, he gets tidied up, boy, he is going to have an extreme look to him and still build extremely well. The calf that was second there, I just talked about him. He's got the advantage in terms of butt muscle with the skeleton, in terms of his pin set and just bulk whenever you get right up on top of him. A very, very massive steer. I called his structure out. I didn't think that it was just quite as good as my class winner. And again, you know, I could go back and say, well, he's got a shade more muscle. I thought this one had plenty, and he still went better, and so that's why I used him. But a very, very good top end of this. My compliments to these kids. Heavyweights will be your champion and reserve out of the blacks. Congrats.
All right, your champion Black Cross goes to Kinley Rathman, Lubbock County, 4-H. And your reserve champion Black Cross goes to Hannah Gonzalez, Roosevelt, FFA. All right, real quick, while we're getting ready for that Class 8 AOCs as they're making their way, getting lined up, I'd like to real quick make some announcements this afternoon. Want to recognize Terry County Tractor sponsoring our live feed today. That's being provided by KCBD. Appreciate them being out here today, taking care of us. Also, want to recognize Devin Sisk Photography, taking all the pictures in the ring and be taking the pictures of our breed and reserve breed champions. Also, we've got some young ladies walking around. They've got a coffee bucket, old Folgers coffee can. They got chips in it. What you do is, if you'd like to help, it's a fundraiser for the Lubbock County Junior Livestock Show. You draw a chip out of the bucket. Whatever that number is on that chip, you pay them. Then your name goes into a drawing that'll be drawn at the sale next Saturday. You do not have to be present to win. They'll draw one winner, and it's worth $1,000. So again, if you draw a chip out of that bucket and it says 5, you pay $5. If it says 50, you pay 50. All that money goes into a pot, and then we'll draw one winner for $1,000 at the premium sale next Saturday. Again, I'd like to recognize today's judge, Mr. Miles Tenius from Old Ripley, Illinois. Went to Lakeland Junior College, then Western Illinois University, where he judged livestock at both schools. He's had the opportunity to judge many county, state, and national shows for cattle and pig around the country. Currently working with Show Ride Feeds, SC Online Sales, and also the owner of Tinya's Livestock, where they raise, trade, and sell show steers and show pigs to youth all across the country. He helps run a concrete business with his dad. Get a little tongue-tied there, I apologize. If you would, one more time today, let's put our hands together for Mr. Miles Tinyas. We appreciate him being here today. All right, it's going to be your first call for Class 9 AOC. First call for Class 9 AOC.
As we get to our next division, again, a very deep quality class. I mean, not a bad one in here, and a good top end of it for sure. You know, I wish I could put these three together, but I still think we got a dang good calf to win this particular class. Boy does an awesome job getting him together. And once he settles him in, gets his old neck to come up out of his shoulder, he's a pretty looking calf from his forerib forward. But boy, again, where it matters in terms of market cattle, he has got a tremendous amount of it. Muscularity is to an abundance in that calf. Big back, big hip, wide in terms of his body, got a great big set of feet and legs underneath him there. Hey, he's right there with his hawk. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's, again, in this particular class, the company's plenty good enough in that regard. That's a dang good calf to win this class, and I'm proud of him to get him together like that. A very, very nice steer. The calf that comes second, again, just a very good calf, and 9 times out of 10, he can win a lightweight division class like this just based on his build alone. He's a good fed steer. They've done a good job of getting him together in terms of body, putting him together in terms of his top line. He's a strong top, big rib steer that's so soft in his makeup in terms of his condition and cover from what it looks like to me. And then again, just presents himself very well out here. Didn't have the bone in the foot and didn't have just the reach and the go on either end of his body is what did my class winner, but a very good calf nonetheless. Sis, I'm going to tell you, I like your steer. He's a little skinny comparatively, but boy, he's built good. Really neat looking up front, and he's still got a good hip in him whenever you get in behind him. For being that skinny, his base width is good, and his foot size and his bone work is good. Tells me that the calf could get pretty good if he gets fat enough, and if he gets just enough muscle right in behind his shoulder. I love his quality of structure. I love his quality of look, and she does a great job with him. Need to be just a little stouter comparatively. That's why I thought it was close, because old Smokey's got him a big back, big hip whenever you get right in behind him, and he's built nice off of his hind leg. To me, he came with just a little extra crest and front end and shoulder, and I'd set his knee back in him and just square him just a shade up front. But mid-body back, he could beat the one right ahead of him. A very nice calf nonetheless. Little orange steer is just packed full of muscle. He tucks it just a little deep in terms of his neckline and his shoulder blade. I got to stiffen his structure up whenever he gets out here and goes, but a muscular calf, super, super stout. His knees and just his front end need to be a little better. Nice built white one that I thought just lacked a little bit more in terms of muscularity and width as I got in behind him, but great look here from the profile. Again, just continue to manage and feed him and get him stout enough, and I think that calf still rumbles. This steer from his mid-rib or fore-rib back, again, highly, highly presented. That boy's done his work at home. I mean, just fresh-hided, fresh-haired calf there. And I appreciate the amount of work that he's put into that steer. His front end is his undoing. He's just too pitched upright in his shoulder and his knee and his front end. I wish it wasn't like that because you can tell he's worked dang hard on him. A calf there that just has to be better up front. Good job. Very good group of kids putting together a good set of cattle. My compliments to each one of them.
All right, your placings for Class A. First place, Coulter Winner, Lubbock County, 4H. Second place, Maverick Miller, Lubbock County, 4H. Third, Lennox Lesky, Lubbock County, 4H. Fourth, Tegan Beach, Lubbock County, 4H. Fifth, J.C. Sullivan, Idalou, FFA. Sixth, Brooks Bozeman, Lubbock County, 4H. And seventh, Bront Bozeman, Lubbock County, 4H. All right, your second call for Class 9 AOC. Second call, Class 9 AOC. All right, it's going to be your first call for Class 10 AOC, our final class of the day. First call for Class 10 AOC.
Well, we've had some good cattle come through, but I will say, no poker face. We've got two real good ones in the ring, and I think, just by just coming through and you listen to, not listen, obviously, to what the crowd has to say, but you can always hear pitch of voices whenever, maybe classes aren't as deep, or maybe a little quieter voices whenever classes are deep, because it doesn't matter if you're involved with the cattle. Whenever they come in and they're good, everybody wants to stop and stare at them. And so you two young ladies have two dang good steers. And I'll tell you right now that there's probably people on the outside of the fence that like them one way or the other. Here's what I will tell you. Today, yours is a little more ready in terms of this condition. First time I handled them, and I wasn't trying to outsmart anybody, not handle them earlier. I just thought, to me, some of those in terms of this condition and body and those things were pretty evident. Right here, I wanted to get my hands on him just to make sure. And that calf is no doubt softer around his rib. You got a giant back whenever you get up on top of him. Incredibly big hip, stout column of bone. To me, he's the most collected in terms of his skeleton as we ask him to go, most specifically there from knee to front foot. And boy, what a fat steer look whenever you get off to the side of him. You got a good calf at the county, but that is a very good steer no matter where you're pulling him to. Good job to you. Young lady, same way right here. Whenever he stops and stands, there ain't been a neater looking one, a higher tying one, a more wild out there looking one from the profile. And I love the bend and set of both ends of his body. He's a muscular calf. Whenever you get to the midsection of his hip, he's a beautiful bodied steer. Just in where his chest, his forerib, lower rib, and rear rib set. I didn't think that the calf came out of the back of his shoulder as big and broad as my class winner. I thought he was just a little flatter in his upper rib. He read just a little more open and bare in his body whenever I got my hands on him. But boy, what a calf too. Awesome pair. My compliments to both of you young ladies. Young man, young men, young lady, young man there, you fall into a deep class, man. And I like this calf. He came in, and I thought, hey, that's a pretty good steer. Good back, good hip, really freshly presented to us. Not near the punch and power of that top pair. Not near the softness of body or just the front end design. I thought this calf just went together better than the other two. He had the look of quality of that one. He had the muscularity of that one. And then he was still built good enough to stay right up there in the top four of them. But he's just going to have to be stouter relative to those other three. He fell in a tough class. It looks like maybe could have been in a class before it, maybe been to the upper end in the top three of them there or two, but a beautiful built calf there that's just not nearly as stout. Sis, I'll tell you, I like your steer too. Whenever he stops and stands and you get his back down, he reads like a good slicking one. In terms of his muscle shape, most specifically in the base of his hip, his quarter, and just his depth of twist, and he's a beautiful bodied steer in terms of roundness of rib cage. On the go, he'll want to pull his top up, bring his blade forward, just come apart too much in his front end. I can't get the calf to balance right. I can't get him to move right now. He's just a little awkward and uncomfortable, but stopping and standing, he's a muscular steer. On the stand, this one beats that one, and he's top end quality in terms of his look and his presence and the way that he comes put together. He's too straight off of his hind leg for me. I step in behind him. I read him the most upright in terms of where his pins, or excuse me, and where his lower twist, his lower quarter is, and just a little flatter there. I need to just open the calf up down low and stouten him up just a shade. But that right there is going to tell you how good the class was. Let's give those kids a good round of applause. Awesome class, heck of a top pair. Congratulations to them.
All right, your placings for Class 9. First place, Presley Wall, Idalou, FFA. Second place, Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. Third, Jackson Sullivan, Idalou, FFA. Fourth, Grant Schilling, Slayton, FFA. Fifth, Kendall Rayfield, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. And sixth, Cutter Dorsey, Lubbock County, 4-H. All right, your second call for Class 10, our 10th and final class of the day, Class 10 AOC. If you're in the building and you have a cow or a steer out there that you haven't shown, it's a good chance you probably need to be in the ring right now for Class 10 AOC, making their way into the ring at this time. Reminder for all you breed and reserve breed champion exhibitors, need to have your picture taken today in front of the backdrop before you leave. All breed and reserve breed champions must have their picture taken today before you leave. Thank you. Also, want to remind y'all we've got the concession stand back there at Lubbock County 4-H. This is their biggest fundraiser for the year. They've got pizza back there. Last I heard, I think they had some sausage wraps that were coming in. So if you'd like to have a bite to eat before you leave today, really appreciate you stepping back there and helping them out, raising them a little bit of money today. So thank y'all for everybody helping them out. They got plenty of drinks as well. All right, we're going to need to get those first and second place AOCs from classes 8 and 9 back to the ring at this time. First place and second place from classes 8 and 9 AOC back to the ring at this time.
What a way to end a good steer show. Just a heck of a good calf to win and beats a good pair of steers that's riding behind him. Why does he does it? He's better built, in my opinion, most specifically as I just watch him go there out of his hip, the way that he utilizes the rear part of his skeleton. And as I step right in front of the cattle, just from knee to front foot, the calf's assembled better than the steer that stands right in behind him. He doesn't lack muscle. His body type, his length of hip, his balance and proportion from the profile is absolutely undeniable. He's a little pushy on his right hind. Whenever you get in behind him, just the shape of his hock and where he'll set it, he'll get a little lazy in the way that he'll stand with it on the go. Unbelievably good in terms of his feet and legs and his quality of look out here, the way that he comes presented to us. Very, very high-end show steer. He beats a high-end calf as well, and I love this steer in terms of the shape of his neck and his front end assembly. He has got a great big back. He doesn't lack muscle whenever you step in behind him. He, too, a big-footed steer behind and a good bone steer behind. A calf there that from the profile I can tell just his front end needs to be reassembled, and I get it right up there in front of him. Just need a front foot. If I could relax him there, I think it'd make him move better behind. Once he gets out here and goes, he just sets him a little weird. Gets just quite a bit more cumbersome in terms of his movement. Not near the athleticism of my class winner, but stout and good looking. Very nice calf there that comes presented to us highly as well. The steer that ends up here in third, again, good bodied, nice build. Not near the bone and the foot and just the look up front of what those other two cattle have. But hey, he's a good heavyweight. No doubt in terms of structure and rib cage and the way that she shows him out here. Got a little tail head, got a little front head, and needs just a shot of bone to go along with the upper mass that he's got, but a very, very nice calf. Gets beat by two killer good ones there. The one that comes next, again, just high tie and good looking. He's not as good hipped in terms of length of hip, and he's not as good bodied as a steer, but I just thought he was more naturally just better in terms of his feet, just a more genuine calf and his width, the skeleton, and he's got a great look to him. And just from his mid-body back, I want to just recorrect his loin and just set him down a little better, strengthen him up from hooks to pins, bring his pin set up and balance his top line better, drop his rib cage down. He's got a little frame to him. Calf that comes next, I prefer his frame and I prefer his body better. I just don't like the way that he moves. He's pretty ouchy on both ends, most specifically behind there. Got just an extra shot of tailhead and comes up in his spine. A calf that's just going to have to move better for me personally behind, but I can see the pair being flipped right there. A little better rib, a little stockier built. So my compliments to him, a great class. I thought, again, an interesting top pair where no doubt structure wins, and I like that calf a bunch. Congratulations to him.
All right, your places for Class 10. First place, Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. Second, Brindley Swan, Lubbock County, 4-H. Third, Channing Bucelato, Lubbock County, 4-H. Fourth, Kendall Rayfield, Lubbock Cooper, FFA. And fifth, Paisley Gonzalez, Roosevelt, FFA. All right, we're going to bring in those first and second place steers from classes 8, 9, and 10 for our champion AOC and reserve champion AOC drive. First place from class 8, Coulter Winter, Lubbock County, 4-H. Second place from Class 8, Maverick Miller, Lubbock County, 4-H. First place from Class 9, Presley Wall, Idalou, FFA. Second place from Class 9, Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. First place from Class 10, Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. And second place from Class 10, Brindley Swan, Lubbock County, 4-H. All right, this is your champion AOC drive. Also, we need to go ahead and give our first call for all of our class champions and reserve champions. First call for all breed and reserve breed champions. Start making your way to the ring at this time for our overall champion and reserve champion drive.
Test. Well, hey, one more time, if you could, let's give these kids a great big round of applause right here, and let's show appreciation for them. How about that for a set of steers at the county show, man? 6 of them that are dang good, and 6 of them that are, you know, we always talk about as breeders, and you always talk about as feeders. Boy, that thing's hard to put together. It is hard to put together and make them look like that if you don't have kids like these 6 right here, or even some of them other ones that have shown so far. Because you can make them as good as you want, but we all know it. If you don't have a good stick, a good showman, they don't look just quite as good as they possibly could be. But boy, whenever they come back out here, an unbelievably good set of steers, but most importantly, an awesome set of kids presenting them. And I thought this first class came in, and I thought, again, he had the first class winner in the last division. And that calf was good in his own regard, and so is this one. And he's going to fall into just one of them deals again where there is some absolute monsters standing behind him. But that calf is very high quality. Whether he sits right here in the AOCs, the main, wherever you show that calf, he is always going to get along within his weight division. A very, very good steer. I told you I thought he was maybe just a little questionable right there at his hock. But that's getting extra critical on him. That's a dang good calf, and the boy does a good job with him. Second place was the same way. That steer has got a beautiful look of a fat steer quality, presence, and feedability about him. I love his body, and I love his width. I didn't think he had the bone, the foot, and just the stoutness of what did my class winner. We came into a really good class, too, and they come back in. And, you know, I spent some time between that pair because I thought that pair was dang good. But whenever they come back in, says, I'm dang glad I used your calf. I love that steer in terms of his body, his width, his muscle, his bone, his feet. And whenever I got my hands on him, there was no doubt that he was the calf that just read a little better finish today around his rib and right in behind his blade. Great big top in that steer whenever you get your hands on him. He comes right to me in terms of his length of body, the most right in his length of body and where things balance bone and foot relative to height and length and just the ratio there if you want to talk about it. But hey, here's the deal. Peel the hair off of him and just talk about fat cattle. That's a good fed one right there. Got muscle where it matters. His body's right. He's being fed well, and he's a good steer, no doubt. Sis, you got a good steer, and you had one right there, too. You could bring a pair like that have that kind of look, just high tying and elevated, beautiful from the side. I love this calf's feet. Great big stout feet underneath, a beautiful body. I love his length of body, his strength of hip, his strength of top line. And of your pair of cattle, he's a little better in his forerib. He's a little better right out the back of his shoulder. He's maybe, again, like I said, a little lazy in his right rear hock at times, but I thought that was a dang good calf that won that class. So wasn't the second place one. I talked about him too. Super stout. 9.5 times out of 10, he's going to win a county show. Doesn't matter where you go. Today, his structure for this guy needed to be just a little bit better on both ends. But again, I don't want to harp on him too hard. She's done a great job with him. My compliments to him. I'm going to go out and get you your champion in reserve in this division. But boy, like I said to start, what a set of cattle at Lubbock County. Let's give these kids one more good round of applause. They deserve it.
All right, your champion AOC goes to Presley Wall, Idalou, FFA. Bringing in that second place from Class 9, Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. All right, your reserve champion AOC goes to Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. All right, we need to get those breed and reserve breed champions to the ring at this time for our overall champion and reserve champion drive. We'll get them all lined up. We'll introduce them all here individually here in just a few minutes as we get everybody prepped and ready for the overall Grand Champion Reserve Champion Drive.
Home right here next to me. You do? Yeah. What? I feel at home next to you. I always feel lost without you. Hey, stop. My hair's getting so long. How do you feel about it? Oh, hey, me and Dylan. So I have a story shoot at 9:30. That once gets canceled. Last year's shoot got canceled, and then Dylan has like 10. So we're thinking go get lunch at 12.
All right, we're going to have our overall champion drive. We're going to introduce our champion and then reserve champion of each breed. and then we'll turn it over to the judge for his analysis. So, champion American, Kelby Long, Lubbock County 4-H. Reserve American, Grant Schilling, Slayton, FFA. Champion British, Branson Swan, Lubbock County 4-H. Reserve British, Austin Earhart, Lubbock County 4-H. Champion Red Cross, Kennedy Long, Lubbock County 4-H. Reserve Champion Red Cross, Caston Dorsey, Lubbock County 4-H. Champion Black Cross, Kenley Rathman, Lubbock County 4-H. Reserve Champion Black Cross, Hannah Gonzalez, Roosevelt, FFA. Champion AOC, Presley Wall, Idalou, FFA. And your reserve champion AOC, Madeline Wall, Idalou, FFA. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is your championship drive for 2026 Lubbock County Junior Livestock Show Steer Show. If you would, let's put our hands together for all these exhibitors in the ring at this time.
Well, I know that they'd already asked for it, but I would again, and not just these not just these kids that are standing out here, but all the kids that showed steers this morning or today. Let's give them a round of applause and show our appreciation for them. Whenever they were talking about just 65 head, whenever I got down here, I'm going to be honest with you, the first thing that I thought about was, why did I leave all the things that we had to do and my wife and kid to come down and judge 65 steers? But I quickly remembered why. And it's never been about just the quality of the livestock or anything for me. Obviously, as a judge, you want to go do that, but it's got to be about the kids, man, and just giving them a fair shake at it. You know, it to me it's a tough business. It's a challenging deal, and we all kind of can get upset, or we can maybe handle emotions differently. But I remembered very much why. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I was the most popular whenever I left my house at 4 o'clock this morning. I actually was lucky enough to find a flight this morning, because yesterday we were working on cattle, or we were working cattle, or 2 days ago, and I had maybe just a little bit of an incident, not only messing my back up a little bit, but ended up breaking a tooth in half, dang near. So as soon as I get back home, I get the lucky opportunity to get a root canal. So I'm excited about that. But I will tell you that I have enjoyed my time in Lubbock, and there is absolutely no doubt in my mind And I firmly believe this, and I firmly will say this for so many years to come until I see something else like it. This has got to be the best county steer show in the state of Texas. I don't know where or how much better it could possibly get, but yeah. I came down for Chad a few years ago and his crew, and it's been a handful of years ago now, and had the opportunity to judge the pig show. And most of you would probably know me from that, and probably not know that we actually have more cows and always have than we always had sows. But I had a good teacher and hog-driven teacher whenever I was in college, and I grew up showing barrows, and so I got probably more invested into that judging than I did in the cattle right away. But I am very comfortable being able to come and do your cattle show, not because I know any more than you guys do, but this is what we live, man. This is everything that we do every day. I had, again, this last 6 months or last 5 months of my life has been crazy, and I've told this story in Texas before, and I've told it before. It's just not really a story. It's more just kind of a reminder of what we do and why we do things. My mom, she's still with us, fortunately. She battles Parkinson's every day, and I don't know if any of you around here know anything about Parkinson's disease, but it is 100% one of the worst things I've ever witnessed. It can take a good person and make them, just not feel the best, right away. And in that meantime, my dad was diagnosed with colon cancer. He lived one dang good year of his life. Until right after the Illinois State Fair here in August. Whenever we got back, we had a really good day showing steers on that Saturday and a real good day showing barrows on both Saturday and Sunday. And whenever I got back, I just wanted to talk to him about it. And he said, hey, everything's good, and I'm proud of you and what you did. He had went home early, but he said, I don't feel good. And so it was 4 short days later that we lost him. Here's what I will tell you. We, like I said, in multiple of these divisions, we eat, breathe, and sleep this, man. It's all we want to do is win. And we want to try to be competitive. But my dad was the same way. He was a very competition-driven man, but he was a good man. And whenever we sat down there that afternoon, and basically everybody around us knew that this was happening or this was going to come, and maybe we didn't want it to happen, obviously, but we knew something was going to. Whenever I sat down on the edge of that bed, we never talked about the trophies we won. We never talked about the cows that we breed. We never talked about any of the sows. We didn't talk about any of the things that every day we talked about that we thought mattered so dang much. The only thing he wanted at that particular point in time was his family and to be comfortable. So I thought a little bit about that, and I thought, man, what can I do, or what kind of a person am I, just to think that every time that I judge, I'm the smartest guy, or every time that we show an animal that it's the best animal, whenever, obviously things can happen that are much worse than not winning a steer show. And so I only tell you this because whenever you get to that point, which I hope that many of you haven't, and I know that many of you probably have, it's something that you think about. This matters. Everybody says the cattle and the kid, hey, it don't matter. It's all about family. No, this dang sure matters, or we wouldn't freaking do it. The reason it matters is because we get to spend time with our family. We get to spend time with our kids. And I know you want to win a steer show. By gosh, I'd want to too. But I will tell you that, it's one of those things that just keep in mind whenever it comes down to the nitty gritty and the final times that, hey, the banners and those things don't matter. The kids, the cattle, the people that you surround yourself, and obviously your family matter very much the most. So that's my little spiel for the day, and I know that judges give long talks, but I only tell you that from the bottom of my heart because I mean it, and I'm proud of your kids, and I just want you to keep in mind the good things, and I know that many of you do. So I'm just playing a fiddle that you've already heard. I think the steer show has been incredible. There is a champion in reserve out here, and in my opinion, it's not negotiable. And you can say, hey, I like this one better, I like that one better. I think your champion is one dang good critter. And I'll get you your reserve after that as well. We've got some good breed cattle. We've had an awesome drive of them. My compliments to your kids. It's been so fun. And hey, once I got down here, once the 65 head got out of my head, I'm really dang glad that I came. And so I appreciate Lubbock County and the crew. Let's give them a great big round of applause and show our appreciation for them and what they're doing for your kids. And hey, good luck to you. I know this isn't some of your final shows, so my compliments to you and good luck.
All right, your overall champion goes to Presley Wall with the champion AOC. Idalou FFA, bringing in that reserve AOC, Madeline Wall, Idalou FFA. If you would, one more time, let's put our hands together for Mr. Miles coming down here. We appreciate you being here today. Even with this broken tooth, we appreciate you fighting through that and being here for us today. And your overall reserve champion goes to Madeline Wall, Idalou FFA. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's steer show. We appreciate you being out here today joining us. Exhibitors, if you haven't had your picture taken, all breed and reserve breed champions, you must have your picture taken over by the backdrop before you leave today. Please make your way over there and get those pictures taken if you haven't done so today. Everybody have a great afternoon. Enjoy the changing weather as we get ready for the sheep show tomorrow, lamb show tomorrow, and our bear show on Saturday and Sunday. We hope to see you all back out here. Everybody have a great afternoon. God bless.